friend Jerry here, and we are taking a look at the box office results for November 21st through November 23rd this past weekend. And what a weekend it was at the box office. As expected, movie audiences did return in droves to their local multiplexes, at least for the top movie on the chart. And before I get into that, if you are a fan of the horror genre, I would like to invite you to go ahead and visit our sister channel, Movie Haunts. It's a channel that I run with Santo, my husband, and that is a channel where we share our passion and our love for the horror genre, which is both of our favorite genre of movie. That's why it has a channel all dedicated just to horror. And but we'd love to have you over there if you are a horror freak like us. I will leave that link for you in the description. Okay, at number one this week, and no big surprise, is Wicked for Good, the closing chapter, supposedly, to the Wicked saga, which began last year with the first part of Wicked, which opened to 112 million in its opening weekend. Last weekend when we were here and I made my prediction of what Wicked for Good would do this weekend, I said it would do about 150 million. That is exactly what it ended up doing, 150 million over its opening weekend. On over 4,000 screens, doing a spellbinding $36,842 per screen average. This gross is good enough to become the second biggest domestic opening of the year, right behind Minecraft movie, which brought in a little bit over 162 million. Wicked for Good is also now the third highest grossing opening for a musical, behind 2019's Lion King, which brought in over 190 million, and 2017's Beauty and the Beast, which brought in just shy of 175 million back in 2017. Now, as far as the critical response and audience response to Wicked for Good, it was pretty good. Right now, Wicked for Good is sitting with a 71% Rotten Tomato score, a little bit off of what the first part received, which was 88%. And I know just from a few of the YouTube critics that I have seen, it is a rather mixed reaction on this one. But I know that I have several friends who've seen it, and I've seen their posts on Facebook. They freaking love this movie. I'm really excited to see it. I know that Santo's actually really excited to see this movie. We love the first one. But it does only have the 71% Rotten Tomato score. Will that affect the legs? I'm not sure. Will that affect the awards season and the nominations? The time will tell with that as well, because I think it was a very strong awards contender going into the weekend. Coming out of the weekend, will it be as well? A very good indication is that it will to some degree, but will it have a bonanza during the award season and just win all kinds of awards? I don't know if a 71% Rotten Tomato score is enough to get it there. It does have an A cinema score, so audiences positively did love the movie. So maybe us critics are just off on this one. We'll see as we get closer to award season just how Wicked for Good is shaping up. But an outstanding weekend, and really brought the box office to life. In second place is last week's number one, Now You See Me, Now You Don't, bringing in another 9.1 million. It did drop about 57% from last weekend, and its domestic gross now stands at 36.8 million. But globally, Now You See Me, Now You Don't is grossed $118 million. That's globally. So really a stronger international opening for Now You See Me, Now You Don't than here domestically. I believe that was the same as the first two installments of Now You See Me, or this franchise, where it has really done much better on the international market than it has done here in North America. In third place is where we find Predator Badlands, a pretty decent showing still, going 6.3 million this past weekend, down another 51-ish percent. But domestically bringing in 76.3 million. So Predator Badlands domestically is going to come close. I don't think it's going to quite make it, but it is going to come close to the $100 million mark. Now, globally, Predator Badlands is already ranked in 159 million. So I believe that it will be making a profit. So will we see more Predator movies theatrically? It's very possible. In fourth place, a movie that has been just a rather big disappointment for Paramount Pictures, I would imagine, and that is the remake of The Running Man, which brought in another 5.8 million this weekend, only in its second weekend, taking a drop of almost 65%, a huge drop. Domestically, its gross is only standing at 27 million. It's done relatively the same internationally as its global gross right now is at 48.7 million. Then in fifth place, the one new release in the top five, other than Wicked for Good, of course, this weekend, is Rental Family, which was acting as counter programming to Wicked for Good. I won't say it actually did really much at all. It only brought in 3.3 million this past weekend on over 1,900 screens, and the per screen average is only sitting at a little bit over 1,700. I'm assuming this movie is probably going to drop and drop fast starting next weekend. It does have, however, an 87% Rotten Tomatoes score and an A Cinema score. So those numbers combined could indicate some legs, but there are a whole lot of movies that are going to be released here in the next few weeks. And so I see Rental Family as being like a casualty of that. Now, as far as total ticket sales for the year go, and compared to last year, ticket sales for this weekend last year were actually down. Even though the Wicked for Good gross, really blew past what the first part did last year. Last year, we also had the opening of Gladiator 2, which opened up in second place with almost 60 million. So you don't have that kind of opening. That's the problem that Rental Family and the other new releases had this week, is that none of them rose to that level of Gladiator. Even though Gladiator 2 did half the sales of Wicked, it was still a really decent second place finish and really elevated last year's gross for this same weekend up. But having said that, even though the sales were off this year from last year, they were not down as much as originally projected. So a fairly decent weekend at the box office. All right, and so coming out just in time for Thanksgiving, actually here in just a couple of days, is going to be Zootopia 2, which is really expected to do some pretty big business itself. It's going to be a race to see whether or not this actually beats Wicked for Good in its second weekend, which one becomes number one over the weekend, because the first Zootopia actually brought in right around $75 million in its opening weekend. Now, that was a March release back in 2016. Over the Thanksgiving holiday, I could see this movie easily getting to 100 million. So it really depends on what size of the drop Wicked for Good takes here in this next weekend. Being a holiday weekend, I would expect Wicked for Good, the drop to be a little bit on the lower side, maybe a 30 to 40% drop. Those kind of numbers would almost mean that Wicked for Good actually stands a pretty good chance of retaining its top position. But it's going to be a race regardless. So it's going to be a really big weekend at the box office with both Wicked for Good and Zootopia 2. So really looking forward to some big time grosses here. Really looking forward to a successful box office weekend. All right, so that is going to be it for these box office results. I look forward to seeing you again next week as I take a look at the Thanksgiving holiday and see how those figures line up. But if you haven't already done so, I would appreciate it if you go ahead and subscribe to my channel, as well as like and share this video. And let me know what you think of these movies. And have you seen any of them? Have you seen Wicked for Good What was your impression? Let me know in the comments section. And also, if you would like to support us and earn yourself a ton of rewards in the process, we'd love to have you over on Patreon with us, where regardless of the tier you choose right now, you'll receive a 7-day free trial membership so you can enjoy most of the rewards anyways, absolutely risk-free. Well, my friend, that is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for joining me, and happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. I hope you have a wonderful holiday. And until next time, that's a wrap.